Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have one heck of an upload to share with you, and I am looking forward to it. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They all were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon and please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they definitely matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload. Shall we? All right, folks, I do have one heck of an upload to share with you. I have some very chilling video evidence or compelling video, however you want to label it. It's chilling, though, I can tell you that much. And it is new to me, so I'm hoping that it is new to you. Also, I have a very horrifying encounter with some very real photos of a dogman, and this is probably some of the best photos I've seen in a very long time, and from a person who I have no reason to doubt at all. I don't doubt anyone when they come to me, but because of who this person is, I was really blown away that first they reached out to me, and second, what they had to share. Also, I got an update on Victor for all of you. So I figure let's start the upload with the update on Victor. Let's get into it. All right, so today I was running some errands. Well, actually, I'll just share how the whole thing went down, and I don't know if it was because of where I was at that I didn't get the phone call and only the voicemail or what. But anyway, my dryer kicked the bucket, and I just bought it in April. So I went to Lowe's to figure out how we can get it fixed or get a new one, yada yada. Now, I have good cell service anywhere where I live because there unfortunately are a lot of cell towers in the foothills of the Adirondacks. When you go north, not so much. But because it's kind of considered vacation land, Lake George, New York, Queensbury, there's a lot of cell towers. And I'm in Lowe's trying to figure out what to do about this dryer situation, and I decide, they figure it out for me. And I walk out, I check my phone, not a call, no kind of notification, but a voicemail notification. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. Is it an old one that just popped up? Because there's not a call notification at all. And it was Victor. Now, mind you, during that whole time of being in Lowe's, I got notification of email, notification of comments, because I get notification from YouTube when people comment, notification of YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to, uploading this, and that. So why didn't I get the notification of Victor's call? Very strange, right? Anyway, I call him back, and We talk for a few seconds and he lets me know that he saw the live stream last night. I had texted him 2 weeks ago letting him know that I was sick again. And then I'm going through some stuff and to give me a call when he gets a moment. Last I had heard, he was in New Mexico. He had left North Creek, New York to go to New Mexico. And he told me that he is in Western New York, 4 hours west of me. And he quick caught the live stream because he had finished up what he was doing and saw how flush I was and stuff like that during the live stream and was concerned. And we got talking, and he is, well, that's another strange thing, is he didn't get my text that I texted him. That's why I was like, well, maybe he's really busy, because I figured he would respond to me immediately, but he didn't. But he didn't get the text. So that was kind of strange, right? But then he and I start talking, and he shares a little bit of info on how the werewolf issue went down in New Mexico. He had gotten called out of it, and I guess a couple park rangers or border patrol agents, got overzealous with two of Victor's hunters. And needless to say, the creature didn't make out too well, and the two border patrol agents had to have their memories erased. Now, some people may not have heard the older Victor shows or uploads, but the government has the ability to do that at a naval base, which he's shared. Nothing that I'm talking about right now is not talked about ever before. So he shares that with me. I believe the North Creek, New York one was either a Bigfoot or a dog or a werewolf. But the one in Western New York was a monstrous creature. And he's going to take a couple of days, maybe a week, and get himself set up and cleaned up and share a few things with us. One thing that I am going to share now is Victor is officially done hunting. That was his last hunt in Western New York. He, just like his dad did, at the end of it all, realized that he's, I hate saying it, but too old and too slow. Which no one wants to ever admit, no one wants to admit that, hey, I'm too old to do this. I'm too slow. I'm, not fast enough like I used to be. The aging process sucks. So anyway, we ended up talking about the Tom Mezek case today for a good while. And he brought up some very interesting things to me that I really I may have overlooked, right? Now, this 5 square mile grid area where they had searched, where Tom disappeared, they had computerized that whole grid. So there was not an inch of land that wasn't touched by a human foot. They never found his rifle. They never found his walkie. They never found his hat. They never found anything. If it was a Dogman, a werewolf, a Sasquatch, or something else, wouldn't it have left that behind? think about that. One of these creatures comes and takes you out. It's going to not pick up after itself. It's, we're not talking about a shooter that picks up his brass after he's done. Okay. And going off the top of my head on this right now, but there was the surveyor in Georgia who was working with a crew that was like 200 yards away from his coworker that disappeared. And what did they find? They found a boot. So that tells us that something very quickly and very powerful grabbed him and snatched him and took. What if Tom saw some sort of glimmer, saw some sort of something, and walked into a portal? Or what if he saw something that he wasn't supposed to? So that's where he and I talked about that for a while. And then we talked about the military installation that was found in Saranac Lake back in the 60s that was used for children, designed to or under the MK Ultra umbrella. So we had talked a lot about that, and I am just really super excited about having him come back on the show and share some of the stuff with us. He's gonna type up some encounters with us, or type some encounters up for me to share with you guys. Hopefully I get them before he comes on, just because I've been really kind of wanting to hear more. Even though I've had a very good relationship with him, I haven't heard everything. And each time I talk to the man, there's just something new that I learn, or that I'm realize that I kind of overlook. Like the Tom Messick, why didn't they find a gun? Why didn't they find his walkie? Why didn't they find that checkered red and black hat that he always wore? If one of these creatures, like, let's just say Bigfoot, because we all know how powerful they are, grabbed him, or Dogman, wouldn't something drop a hat? That's just, it's not common sense, but it almost is common sense, actually. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to have Victor back on. He's always been a very good friend to me. And when he realized and found out that I was sick, immediately reached out. And I can't wait to hear more from him. So with that, let's jump into part 2 of today's upload. All right, so with that news, I figure let's jump into some very interesting and very chilling, new to me, hopefully new to you, video clips. This first video clip, when I first saw it, instantly brought me to Dulce, New Mexico. And I know I probably say it wrong, but that's how I'm always going to say it, because, well, that's how I talk. So those English teachers out there that want to tell me that I'm pronouncing it wrong, do, but I'm still going to say it the way I say it, because that's just it. Brings me right back to Dulce, New Mexico. And I am brought there because of Nightmare Hall and all of the horrific horror stories that I have read about in Nightmare Hall. For those of you who haven't found those videos, they are out there on my channel. And They are quite horrifying. The United States government taking women, children, men, kidnapping them right off of the street and bringing them to DUMBs, deep underground military bases, to perform horrific scientific experiments on. And I have interviewed a friend of mine, Laura Eisenhower, President Ike Eisenhower's great-granddaughter. He's the one that warned us about the military-industrial complex and also had a meeting with extraterrestrial. These creatures that we call crawlers on this channel that look like the air quotes rake are real. And I truly believe that they are a product of facilities like Dulce and laboratories like Nightmare Hall, where women and children and men are kidnapped, brought to these facilities, and just atrocities are committed. Women fattened up to just be cows. And I'm not saying that like a overweight person, but I'm saying like a cow. Like hooked up to a milking machine. That's some of the stories that have been told about this. Birthing, not even humans anymore, just a birthing machine. Men quite possibly turned into these crawlers. Children, I don't even want to think about the atrocities committed against them. But all under the umbrella of the United States government / military industrial complex / extraterrestrial agenda. I don't like using the word alien because when you hear that, you think of outer space. But what if they're just crossing through dimensions? Because supposedly, in things that I've read, there are dimensions that have been crossed and these extraterrestrials come out of, instead of coming from the sky, it's so far from where they are at that they use wormholes, which then turn into like a portal to cross over. So anyway, this video clip brought me right to that mindset. And it horrified me. And once you see this video clip, you will realize why it brought me there. Here it is. So you can see kind of why I went mentally to that spot. A person or two people being led into the woods by whatever that thing is. I'm not sure if the person is bringing the woman into the woods or if the woman's bringing the other person into the woods, or if they're both entering the woods by the power of whatever that thing is. But it is creepy. And after I have read and researched the atrocities that were committed in these DUMBs, deep underground military bases, Dulce, New Mexico, and other places. I mean, it's not just Dulce. There's many other places throughout our world. Not our country, our world. And like I said, umbrella of government and military-industrial complex. Well, when you add that military-industrial complex, that pretty much is making or adding the 1% into that. I'm not even going to mention their last names, but I did before. Very chilling. The next video we are going to check out is a fella who is very interested in everything we're interested in. Come across a guy and, well, that guy was asked a question and he said, why, yes, I do. Check this out. And this is how that whole thing went down. Check it out.
The other day I was walking over here, I see a guy working the land. I say, hey, you know, have you ever seen anything out here you can't explain? The moment I said that, his eyes lit up. It's like just last week, my buddy took the craziest video back in these woods. Did you see the dog in the video? Dog was growling and it was looking over into the area where the apparition appears. What a crazy video. The other day I was walking over here, I see a guy working the land. I say, hey, you know, have you ever seen anything out here you can't explain? The moment I said that, his eyes lit up. It's like just last week, my buddy took the craziest video back in these woods. Did you see the dog in the video? Dog was growling and it was looking over into the area where the apparition appears. What a crazy video.
All right. So once again, these are not my videos. I don't know how I feel about them 100% because, to be honest with you, I haven't seen these videos up until yesterday. I don't know what that is walking through the woods. It could be some sort of crawler. It could be some sort of forest spirit. Who knows? It's very chilling. And I find it interesting that, you know, this guy just randomly asked, hey, have you seen anything out in these woods? And bam, he's shown this cell phone footage. The reason why it is crappy like that is because he, I guess, filmed it from that guy's cell phone. I don't know why there wasn't like a text sent so he could have it. Maybe it was too big file-wise to be shared that way. But he apparently filmed it from the other guy's phone. So this next video and the final video of the evening reminds me of a video that I just shared a couple days back about the guy who's on his screened-in porch and sees that crawler-like creature coming up. Except that was probably 10 years old or something like that, I believe. I think 2012 that was filmed. But this is recent, 2023. And if there's ever a video of a crawler, this would be it. I'm not saying, by me saying that, I'm not saying that I believe that it's 100% real, because I don't know. I didn't take the video, but I'm saying if I were to guess how they move, because I've never seen one, if I were to guess how they move and how they act and how quickly and violent they are, this would be it. I've heard people say, oh, we've never heard of crawlers, being violent. We very seldom hear of crawler encounters, first of all, that are head on. We've all heard Bigfoot, Dogman encounters where they're feet away, but usually when the crawlers are close, there is kind of some sort of violent tendency. They chase, they squeal, they make these strange noises, and they scare me, to be honest with you. I would much rather see a Bigfoot or a Dogman 50 to 100 yards away than one of these crawler things 50 to 100 yards away. So check this video clip out and you decide. All right, like I said, you guys decide. That thing moves very, very quickly, and I hate using the word chilling because it just sounds so stupid, but the way it moves, it is chilling. It's creepy. It's not natural. And that's what these things are. I truly believe that, we may say, hey, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever, maybe biblical, whatever, they may be natural flesh and blood, they may come out of portals, but there is just something that these crawler things are a creature in their own category of Bigfoot, Dogman, werewolf, to me. And not just because they don't have hair on them, but because these things are not natural. I 100% believe they were created in a lab as some sort of possibly bodyguard or protector for those deep underground military bases. Maybe they even have a little bit of reptilian DNA. Reptilian human DNA combined with whatever. But to me, they are not natural and they do not move naturally. They are far too fast and far too strong for being that skinny. Here is tonight's final encounter. And at the end of this encounter is some of the most compelling photos that I have ever seen or have seen in a very long time. Right up there with Kirk Stokes and Paul Chafin, if you ask me. Let's get into it. Jeff, I thought you may be interested in a few experiences I've had, plus a few photos and some personal thoughts. If you use any of this, please call me Brother Augustine. I am a Benedictine Catholic monk. I had my first encounter when I was 10 years old. It was during the summer, right at dusk, and I decided to walk down to the creek that was behind my parents' home. As soon as I got to the creek, I started to get a bad feeling like something was wrong. I saw that there was a group of deer on the far bank, so I ignored the feeling and crouched down to watch them. It started getting dark, so I stood to leave, and the deer heard me and started looking around. Just in that moment, I heard something move in the brush about a dozen or feet so to my right. I looked and saw a huge dark shape stand up and then leap 20 or so feet across that creek and land right in the middle of the group of deer. The deer scattered, and I gasped loud enough for this thing to hear me. And the shape suddenly turned and looked right at me. It was tall, lean, covered in medium-length black fur. It had a tail similar to that of a lab. Its head looked wolfish, but from what I remember, it was narrower and longer than a wolf's head. It made a long, low growl that sounded something like a mastiff's growl, but almost grinding sound, like it was chewing gravel. I turned and ran home as fast as I could. It scared me so bad that I had nightmares for months, and I didn't go back to the creek for a few years. When it looked at me, I got the instant sense of dread and the feeling that this thing was evil. I told my parents, and they didn't believe me, so I just tried to pretend that it didn't happen. I told a few people years later, and they said it was a Sasquatch. I've only recently learned about Dogman and found your channel, and it helped fill in some gaps. Since then, I've had this feeling that I'm being watched in the woods, seeing things out of the corner of my eyes, having rocks thrown at me, experienced 2 possible infrasound attacks, and something slapped the side of my home a few times. I've never seen anything else definitive, though, until the last few years. 2021, I found my first Sasquatch track and saw something big sitting on a log that I couldn't explain. Then last month, I found a bunch of tracks and other weird stuff, stick structures, stacked rocks, etc., on my parents' property, and they told me they keep hearing something crashing into the side of the house at night. Last month, I visited my parents for 2 weeks, and I went hiking every day. During those 2 weeks, I had my second real encounter. I was hiking, and about an hour and a half in, I started noticing flashes of movement behind me. Then a bit later, I had just stepped on a huge rock that didn't move with all of my weight put on it. 10 seconds later, I hear something big step on that same rock, making it shift. That got me walking faster. Later, I heard something moving behind me, so I pulled my phone out and made a sweeping motion behind me, taking photos the whole time. See picture 1. What you can't see from that photo is the drop-off behind the trees that runs down to the stream. The Dogman was standing in that stream bed, making it roughly 7 to 8 feet tall. I kept walking, and I started hearing breathing behind me. I took the first trail heading back that I found, and I kept my hand on my firearm the whole way back. It followed me all the way back to my car, and at one point made what sounded like a half a laugh, half a snarl. I've started seeing another one at the Abbey's property. I'm a Benedictine monk, and the Abbey sits in the middle of 1,970 acres of woodland with ridges and lakes. On the 26th of May, I noticed one following me while I was hiking. See photo 2. Around one of our lakes, and managed to get a photo of its snout peeking through the brush. On the 29th of May, I had to go to the top of one of our ridges to put a campfire out that someone had left. I got to the bottom of the ridge and was about to start up when I noticed something walk out of the far tree line and then stop by a closer tree. It looked right at me and then turned and moved back the way it had come. See the rest of the photos. I pulled out my phone and got some photos before it ran off, unfortunately. I had to zoom all the way in to get it, so it is quite blurry. I also added one that I had edited to try to get more detail to show. In person, I could clearly make out its body shape, ears, snout, etc. The worst part was I essentially had to follow it up that ridge to get to the fire. I stopped where it had been and found what looked to be a print. I can't say for sure that it had made, but it seemed weird. There were also a few deer track in the area, but this was twice as deep. Make of it what you will. The gator I was driving to get to the fire got stuck halfway up the ridge, so I had to walk the rest of the way up, and then walk 3 miles back to the Abbey, all the while feeling like this thing was following me. I'm always armed when I go into the woods, but I get a feeling it wouldn't do me much good. I do have to note, I've only had that feeling of evil or felt danger within the Dogman, not the Sasquatch. From my experiences and looking at a Christian tradition, the Book of Enoch, the Old Testament passages, St. Thomas, and some other earlier sources, I personally believe there is a spiritual element to these creatures. Nephilim are similar. I think some people may be more inclined to recognize spiritual elements that leads them to their initially counter these beings. Once you do see one, I think they can sense it, and they are drawn to you. I certainly feel like they are watching me. So far, I feel that prayer keeps them away, and maybe even irritates or frustrates them. I've gotten the feeling that they wanted to scare or hurt me because they were being driven back. I at least attribute that to prayer and asking St. Michael for his protection. I'll share any other photos I get or worthwhile encounters. Keep up the good work, and God bless. Brother Augustine. All right, so there is some very real and compelling photos from a Benedictine monk, a man of God, acknowledging that these creatures exist. Really just kind of blows me away. And for those of you who are saying, well, if he's a monk, how can he carry a firearm? Why can't he? He has a firearm for protection while hiking in the woods. It's not a crime. It's not a law. There's no kind of written amendment or whatnot in the church bylaws saying you cannot have a firearm. What if you like to go shooting at the range? What if you shoot clays? Why can't they? It's for someone to ask that is kind of like, I don't know. I shared this once before and people were like, I don't believe it because what monk carries a firearm? Well, why not? Doesn't he deserve the protection as well? To me, that just means that everything I say, what I say is a little bit more clear, The power of prayer works, but going out into the woods against one of these creatures, don't just rely on the power of prayer. Have something in your back, too. Doesn't hurt. But you go relying on prayer, and one of these things come at you, and the Our Father or the prayer to St. Michael doesn't work. Then where are you at? Up a creek without a paddle, aren't you? Anyway, something that many of you may have picked up on 6 or 7 months ago. I, for the longest time, had been following my Native American beliefs on my mom's side. I was brought up Roman Catholic. I was confirmed, baptized, yada, yada. But I kind of stopped and I was like, there's only one great spirit. But I turned my life over to Christ. One day, on the phone with James/Dark Waters, I turned my life over to Christ. And I know how powerful prayer is and how powerful just the belief of Christ is. And that's why I think this experience to me is riveting, chilling, compelling, and all of those $10 words but kind of makes you step back a little bit and go, yeah, wow. Anyway, guys, that was today's upload. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I truly did. And I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. You guys truly are the foundation of this platform. Without your support, this channel would cease to exist. So thank you. I am blessed. And with that, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant. We all know these creatures exist. I don't have to tell you. But keep an eye on your loved ones, your children, your pets. Because chances are these creatures are. God bless you all.